I got a new room. It's the same room, but just slightly different.
Evolved.
An evocative space, you know.
Yes.
I don't have a bed behind me anymore.
Just sword.
Just sword. We got the sword. We got the Lord of the Rings film things over here. I don't know if I'll crop it out, but loot's hanging out like right over there ish. I can't angle. I got cards on the wall, so you know it was just. The cards have always been on the wall there. They just have never been able to be seen because my previous angle had it directly behind my head. Fun fact.
Fun fact. That is both fun and a fact.
It is. It's also different because Wyatt, he's dead to us now. We've killed him.
Yes.
Gone
Drove
forever.
to Tennessee. Found his address.
True.
And really gave it to him.
Yeah, really gave him the good stuff. You know. No, he has responsibilities as a father that neither of us have to have. Thank God. Oh man. Unfortunately, kind of a light news week as well for this, the Lord's 115th episode of the Duels and Man and Dorks podcast, Magic the Gathering news, information, and just us talking about the things happening in the world of Magic the Gathering. Made entirely possible by viewers like you.
Thank you.
Thank you. At patreon.com/dungeonbros, where you can join us for free if you so desire. You can submit your questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, and ideas to the podcast. $5 a month gets you early ad-free access. $15 a month gets your name read at the end or during the show. Like Brandon Vol, for example. Brandon the Mandan Volan, if you will.
I won't, but thank you.
But of course, we are in the midst of our Secrets of Strixhaven pre-release window as we're recording of it. This podcast, when we get to the posting on the Patreon and to the free feeds later, going to be full retail release of Secrets of Strixhaven. Sam, have you been enjoying the Secrets of Strixhaven, or have you been too busy with moving?
Well, I'm what some people call a bartender. And so I work the weekends. So I am having to wait until full release for it to be dropped on Magic Arenas.
Yes. We've got the full set reveal and the full commander deck lists have been out for a while. And it's also been a while since we've had you on the show to chime in about the Secrets of Strixhaven. What do you want to, what kind of cards are you liking? What archetypes are you interested in exploring?
The paradigm spells, I am very interested in those. Not so much, obviously, the green or the green one.
The blue one.
But like the red one, that's pretty cool. The white one is also super cool. Hard to get to, but super cool.
Yeah. The black one's just kind of like solid value, and I think the black one's probably the most playable because it's like the easiest to cast of all of them, lowest mana cost, and then there's just generic value. It's like a better Phyrexian Arena that can't be interacted with once it resolves.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, technically they can counter the spell every turn, but again, it's at the beginning of every turn, and you can choose to. So, unlike Phyrexian Arena, you don't have to kill yourself with the last point of health.
We're not gonna black market connections ourselves here, right. You know.
No full sending.
Well, even if they're countering it every turn, I mean, that's just like free resource for you. Like you're denying them the counter spell for something else, which is
like
just...
if they got that Jin-Gitaxias on the field. Yeah. And you're like, I mean, that's a completely different power level than like, I'm just thinking I want to draw 2 cards per turn, you know, come hell or high water with my health. But
and I mean, if your opponent's running that Jin-Gitaxias, you can have a free spell every turn.
Right.
In my opinion, at least. No, I'm very excited, but like Strixhaven pre-release, it was popping. Oh yeah, it was a very, very crowded pre-release at the Comic Book World in Florence, Kentucky, which is my preferred local game store. They couldn't fit another table in there if they had to. I was seeing faces there for the very first time. I was seeing faces that hadn't shown up since Edge of Eternity's time, and Lorwyn Eclipse, obviously. I didn't go to Lorwyn, but a lot of them were like the last one was Lorwyn, and then the one before that I went to was Edge, and it's nice to have like a good in-universe set.
It is.
Opening the packs is a fucking treat, man. Everything feels super playable. Obviously, obviously limited. The cards are great, but it's like
Right.
you're getting the charm cycle all over the place for the colleges. Super playable cards. The mystical archives, even the uncommon ones. It's like you're popping burst lightning or spell pierce or hop to it, like just super playable stuff. The mystical archives in just the general quality, the high quality of the set just makes it so fun. So fun. Did you see the short that I posted yesterday of opening the collector booster?
I did not.
I'm not saying I'm a gambling man, but it paid off this time.
Did it?
Got two of the Elder Dragons.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, got the Witherbloom, and I previously got and the Quandrix one. So the Cascade one and the Affinity for Creatures one in like the fancy like full art, and Witherbloom was foil as well. And I got the Japanese Bring to Life. It's a shitty Simic tutor.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
But you know,
Did you then sell the cards you gambled for?
About that. No, they're currently in the trade binder. SCG Con, dude. My other job, one of my other jobs, I'm a swim coach. I'm a swim coach. And the weekend of SCG Con, that's a swim meet. That's a swim meet weekend. And I'm already missing another swim meet weekend in 2 weeks because of the Flying Pig Marathon in Cincinnati that I have to work at for my primary job. So I can't really miss 2 swim meets in a row as the lead coach of a group. So unfortunately, probably not making it to SCG Con this year, which is a goddamn shame. But the plan was take the trade binder and like if I find some cards at some booths that I'm interested in, trading in some of these higher value cards. But I like just having decent stuff that people are wanting. Like this Friday in the town that I live in, which will remain nameless. One of the distilleries has a commander. You do know. One of the distilleries that's like 2 blocks away from me has a commander night every month, and they just started doing this a couple months ago. A guy that like runs a tattoo shop across the street was like, I play Commander. I think there's people in the community that play Commander. And so it's like these random residents of insert town here are gathering at a distillery and playing Commander. And it's a very fun time. And I've traded cards every single time I've been there because people just like looking at what we all have. And, you know, I'm hoping to like sneak in, you know, not quite pre-release pricing, but like a higher than once everything's opened pricing little jab into the trading system, you know.
Yeah. Real quick, going back to the pre-release, which seeded kit did you get?
So I chose Silver Quill because it was the aggro deck, and I thought it would be the easiest to pilot. In hindsight, probably should have gone for one of the blue decks. I think the Quandrix archetype is probably the strongest one. Increment is just so easy to trigger, and it's just getting generic value. And in a limited environment, the cheap creature that can become a big creature just from doing the things you're already doing is very, very strong.
Yeah.
But I noticed there were a lot of people on Quandrix and Prismari, and when I was talking to people, one of the guys there was like, yeah, I just picked one of the ones that had blue because in the seeded pack I'd have a better chance of getting Emeritus of Ideation. And I was like, that's smart.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
This is one of the first sets of the new era of pre-release where you don't get the foil stamped promo. You just get a standard foil. And much like seeded pre-release packs of yesteryears, you're not guaranteed that your promo is in the colors of your pre-release pack at all.
Yeah.
I got so many red, blue Prismari, like specifically red and blue Prismari cards. My promo was a red, and when I was opening packs, like almost all of the rares I was getting was Prismari. Like I almost went Prismari. I just didn't have enough support to like actually win the game.
Yeah.
I had all these cool flashy spells that I could cast, but nothing to actually win a game of limited, unfortunately. Ended up going 1-1, and then I dropped the third because it was getting late and I needed to sleep because I'm an old man.
Indeed.
At heart. But with the release of Secrets of Strixhaven this week, April 24th, the release day of this video of the podcast on the Patreon, a couple days after for the free feeds, we're going to have a new rules change yet again to Sagas. With the Final Fantasy set last year, we had a rule change to make Saga creatures work more intuitively. And now they just kind of changed how Sagas enter the battlefield altogether to make it in line with other cards that enter with counters like Planeswalkers and Battles. Specifically, quote, made a small change to how Sagas work. The mechanism that adds lore counters to Sagas now better matches Planeswalkers and Battles. Specifically, we've made the ability that causes Sagas to enter with lore counters on them an intrinsic ability. We did the same for the ability that allows the controller of Sagas with read ahead to choose the number of lore counters. This makes some interactions more intuitive. Doubling Season will now double the number of lore counters a saga enters with, much like how Planeswalkers and Battles have done already. Interestingly, Urza's Saga will now enter with 0 lore counters instead of 1 when Blood Moon is on the battlefield. So the reason for calling out Urza's Saga and Blood Moon, the last time they changed sagas, it changed the interaction of how Urza's Saga and Blood Moon functioned, where Urza's Saga would still enter with a lore counter and not immediately just die to Urza's Saga or Blood Moon's turning it into a mountain, which was a weird, not intuitive interaction at all. So Urza's Saga would stick around and it wouldn't be able to gain lore counters. Now it does not enter with a lore counter at all, but is then just a mountain, and it's not going to self-sacrifice for having 0 counters because it only sacrifices itself once it gets to the maximum lore count on the card. Seems just kind of like an ease of play, ease of description, unifying of how this stuff works. Do you think it's weird that we've got 2 changes to sagas in less than 12 months?
Sagas are so... They seem intuitive when you look at it on the face, but then you keep having to go back to the rules or ask your buddy who knows the rules how it works almost every time they come down.
Yeah.
And I know this because I'm the guy who will go back to the rules, or people will ask me how the rules work every time a saga comes down. So I imagine that pretty much every time we see an interesting change or like a new way sagas work or a new set that really focuses on them, I'm sure we'll have more rules change. Like you said, one came in Final Fantasy with the saga creatures, which was a super cool addition, I thought.
Absolutely.
And so I can see them continuing to make improvements and add additional types of sagas or ways that sagas interact. And, you know, the Magic rules are comprehensive. It's called the comprehensive rules for a reason, because you need just so damn many of them.
Oh, yeah.
It's worse than a city building code. We have built this Rome in not a day.
The only comprehensive text that I think is more complicated than some of these TCG comprehensive rule sets is the American Tax Code.
Yeah.
So notoriously very simple and easy to understand. But no, I think this is a fine change. I feel bad for like Rip Pull Repeat and other content creators that make these like explaining the For those listening on the audio version of the podcast, the cat behind me in the background grabbed the loot plush off the table, knocked it to the ground, and promptly walked away, uninterested. So that's funny. But these content creators that have been making like, how do these weird interactions with sagas work? And then they have to keep like updating the video, like releasing a new one. And it's like, but you said this. It's like, yeah, it was true then, but now, oh man, rough go at it for them.
I mean, it's free. It's content. They get to make more content.
Honestly, free video idea.
Yeah.
Free video idea. There's also comprehensive rules for all the new mechanics that are coming into Strixhaven, as well as some small sneak wording tweaks, better defining what allows you to cast it, but it's not really worth mentioning. The only other thing, we're getting a list of like 40 cards that have added a subtype errata to them. And that's the book subtype. It's a subtype of artifacts. We find it on Diary of Dreams in the uncommon slot of Strixhaven. Don't know how this is going to interact with any of this, but pretty cool. Things that they just make sense. Like Wizard's Spellbook is now a book. Summoner's Grimoire is now a book. The Book of Vile Darkness is officially a book. And then Moira Brown, Tamio Completed Sage, and Volo Iterant Scholar now create artifact tokens that are of the book artifact subtype. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see why they chose to do that. Seems a little...
Usually they don't do things like that until there's an immediate reason, right? You'd expect there maybe to... I don't know, maybe it would be like, oh, we need... a book type because this card interacts with books, but not yet. They're just preemptively doing it.
I guess. I mean, clearly, I think this shows some kind of intent to make the book subtype matter for a card in the future, and they wanted more than a card for it to interact with, or like two cards.
The next, there's going to be a teacher, and they're going to teach the Magic universe how to read.
Yep, 100%.
Your Phyrexian Obliterator will soon be able to read Tamio's journal.
That is true. With the special guest bonus sheet slot available in Strixhaven, Cody Vociferous Codex got a reprint, and it does include the book subtype printed on the card. So if we're getting a reprint of Fool's Tome from Tempest, you never know. Or... another reprint of Jalum Tome that nobody asked for. Anyway, those are the only interesting rules changes. The other change that is going to be coming is to Arena, specifically the historic format, which is just kind of the most cards on Arena legal format. Timeless is the format where basically everything is legal. With the bonus sheet, the Mystical Archives bonus sheet, a lot of cards that have never been on arenas are going to be on arenas for the first time. And as such, 5 of them have received a pre-banning in the historic format. These all make complete sense, honestly. Vampiric Tutor, Daze, Force of Will, and Armageddon are all pre-banned for what I can assume is very obvious reasons. 2 free counter spells, mass land destruction, and one of the most efficient tutors ever printed. I did say 5. That's because we are going to be getting a Library of Alexandria in Arena, which is replacing Library of Lang in the printed bonus sheet. So Arena is not going to get Library of Lang, and instead they are getting Library of Alexandria, which has also been pre-banned in Historic. They haven't really given us specifically a reason, not that I could find, why they chose to replace Library of Lang with the Library of Alexandria. It's going to be, obviously, all of these cards, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up getting restricted and even timeless, where everything is legal.
Right.
It just feels weird to make the change. The cards don't really function similarly to one another. I feel like Library of Lang isn't like that crazy of a card. Like you can make it work in Arena.
In a very specific type of strategy. Unless they just couldn't figure out how to code it correctly in arenas. They're just like, we need a different library.
That would be crazy. which is arguably a more powerful card.
Oh, Alexander, yeah. There's a reason it's banned in a lot of formats.
It's just weird. Some interesting cards that dodged a banning in Historic: Pyretic Ritual, Jessica's Will, Living End, Angel's Grace, and Ad Nauseum have all eluded the Historic ban hammer. CEDH brewers of arenas are very excited about that, I'm sure. I'm interested to see what gets banned in Brawl, because that really dictates whether these cards are played very heavily in Arena. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of the cards on that list end up getting the ban in Historic. Obviously, you're still waiting to really fool around with this set once it comes to Arenas in a couple of days from when we're recording. You should have your hands on it by the time this is posted and you're moved. Are you excited to play around with any of these super powerful Mystical Archives cards in general? Or are you just expecting them all to be banned in Brawl, which is like the main way most people play?
Well, see, I really like, I love Limited. So I'm looking forward to Draft. I'm looking forward to, usually don't get to play Sealed on Arena. And then I've been dipping into Standard a lot recently. And I think this will be a very fun set to either add into current Standard decks or to build around Standard decks. You know, especially just coming off of TMNT. I played a lot of Lore and Eclipsed on Arena, and then TMNT came out, and the first, 2 games, I had a lot of fun. First 2 drafts. And then after that, I was like, that's pretty much it. I feel like I've done everything. But looking forward to at this set, it looks like there's going to be a lot more room to try different archetypes and play with different cards or play with the same cards in different ways. There's not everything straightforward and as TMNT was. It definitely is feeling more reminiscent of Lore and Eclipse, where there was just a bevy of things you could do, even though there were only 5 archetypes.
Yeah. Well, there's 5 specific obvious archetypes with Strixhaven, but there's also kind of like a hidden 6th archetype with Converge, all the cards that care about the number of colors of mana and the archaics. It's really hard to draft, but I mean, if you're on Arenas and you've done 8 drafts, it's like, fuck it, let's try Converge. Let's get everything that makes a treasure, taps for any color of mana, and as many Converge cards as I could possibly run, and just try it.
And then pair that with, for a standard or a constructed deck, pair that with the Vivid Cycles from Lore and Eclipsed. I love to. That's very interesting to me, is when obviously we see them do over multiple sets. We'll see them bring back certain mechanics, but it's very interesting when they do a series of similar style mechanics that can work together, like Converge and Vivid, and not just we had clues in this set, so we'll have clues in this set.
Yeah, it's clear that they have a through line that they're trying to build around over multiple sets. We're not getting blocks, and we're usually not getting back-to-back sequel sets as often anymore. But you can still tell that they're thinking through. I mean, we got lessons back in Avatar. We got cards that cared about lessons in Avatar. Interestingly, we didn't really get that many cards that care about lessons in Strixhaven, and we didn't get any learn cards back. I think they don't want to have to deal with the learn mechanic again.
Learn was so bizarre.
Awkward. It's really
you
awkward.
can either play a card from outside the game now or bring it into your hand, or you can just draw and discard.
Free value, sure.
Free value, sure.
It's just, I don't know. I was kind of expecting learn to come back, or for the subtype of lesson to actually be more meaningful in Strixhaven. So I'm kind of interested to see what cards in the future are going to care more about lessons. I mean, obviously, we go back to Avatar, you've got that Uncle Iroh commander that cares about lessons, but that's obviously a commander card.
Right.
And Is It Lessons is very powerful in Standard right now, but it really only has that name because just some of the most powerful instants and sorceries just happen to be lessons right now, not because the lesson type really matters. It's weird. It's weird. Also, when you're drafting, you kind of can go with 3 colors, even though this is a 2-color set. You just got to make sure that the color that you're splashing a third for is related to one of the colleges with one of the color. If you were in Silver Quill, You probably shouldn't splash blue.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really overlap. But if you wanted to splash green for, say, the Berserk that you opened in your Mystical Archives and the Giant Growth that you opened in your Mystical Archives pool, you can kind of do that because Witherbloom's a thing.
Yeah. 2026 and people are still dying of Giant Growth.
Right? That won me my first game, actually.
Did it? That's awesome.
The splash of, I was playing like white black lands, classic Silver Quill stuff. And then I played a forest, and the guy was like, "What?" And then I went into attack, and he's like, "All right, I'll block those two." And there was a third one that got through, and I was like, "Cool, Giant Growth, Silver Quill Charm, giving it +1/+1 counters, and then the repartee triggers, and it was lethal."
There you go.
It's awesome. All right, moving away from Arcadios and going back to school, a horrifying time for many.
Indeed.
But a time of secret lairs is upon us. April 27th. There we go. April 27th, which will be the Monday that this comes out on free feeds. Exactly the time of day that this will post to the free feeds. We have a back to school secret lair super drop that composes several secret lairs. All of them are going to be $30 in non-foil and $40 in foil. The prices that I'm about to talk about when we do the run through of this are all the non-foil ones. I didn't want to go through and do it twice. And the foil ones just aren't worth it. By the time when you see the list of all the non-foil ones, you see why I didn't bother with the foil ones. I promise you. For all the bronies out there, we got Secret Lair across My Little Pony. Friendship is Magic. It's a 6-card Secret Lair drop. Generous Gift, Reconnaissance Mission, Radiate, Defense of the Heart, Arcane Signet, and Soul Ring. About $36 in value. Defense of the Heart making up about 20 of it. Radiate, about $5 of it. And spoiler alert, this is one of only 2 drops worth over the price of admission. Along with that, we get My Little Pony Lands of Equestria, which is 2 each of the basic lands, for $30. Don't buy that one.
No.
Are you interested in either of the My Little Pony drops? Are you a brony? Do I have to cancel you?
I cannot say that I am. I've never been and have no interest in being one.
Listen, if you are a grown man and you like watching the show My Little Pony, whatever, more power to you. And then there's the ones that make it their entire personality. And while I am totally fine with people doing whatever they want as long as they're not harming someone else, I'm going to give you a little bit of a weird side look. Just a little bit. Moving on.
Fair enough.
It's Defense of the Heart is cool. I would never run it. Arcane Signet, Soul Ring, the Secret Lair versions are always a higher value than standard printings. But the fun one here, Omens of Chaos, is a 5-card Secret Lair drop that is meant to pair with the Secrets of Strixhaven. It is 5 instants, each one with a color identity that restricts it to the College of Strixhaven that it would most likely represent. We have Abrupt Decay, very, very useful removal spell. Batwing Broom, a card you probably have never heard of because it's the first time I've ever heard of it. Chance for Glory, Counterflux, and Growth Spiral. All cards that are very fun, very playable. Unfortunately, total value of this drop about $11.50, mostly off the back of the Batwing Broom, which has not really had a significant reprint ever. All of them very playable. If you bought this Secret Lair drop and you happen to get all the commander decks, these are fun little upgrades for all of the decks. I don't necessarily think that it's going to crazy increase the power level of your deck, but a card that's kind of not super useful in the precon, subbing it in for this, really thematic. Are you interested in any of these? Have you ever heard of Batwing Broom before?
I have heard of Batwing Broom before. And that's partially just because I spend a lot of time on Scryfall and similar apps looking for unique and interesting cards. And Batwing Broom, as far as a fog goes, is pretty interesting.
I agree.
Prevent all combat damage to be dealt this turn if white was spent to cast it. And then each player loses 1 life for each attacking creature they control if black was spent to cast it. So, you can fog and burn your opponent, which is pretty nice. I think, again, these are all cool cards, and Growth Spiral is very playable in basically every Simic Plus deck. Same with our Abrupt Decay. But I'll just go with the base printings of these,
Yeah.
I don't need... these are cool arts, but not worth the price tag.
Yeah. Even Counterflux is like super playable. A 3-mana counter spell that can't be countered, and then you can overload it for 1 more mana and counter every spell that isn't yours. Obviously, in like a game of Casual Commander, that's not going to come up very often. But like, I don't want to say CEDH because I know the CEDH actual CEDH players are going to like fucking end my existence. But I feel like a 4-mana counterspell, though expensive mana cost wise, in a format where you can make large swaths of mana that gets rid of everything on the stack that isn't yours and none of them can be countered themselves, seems pretty cool.
Call it a tier 4.
Yeah.
Bracket 4. There we go. Found it.
High bracket 4 counterspell. Unfortunately, it's probably one of the coolest looking drops and just doesn't quite get there in the value.
Right.
Secret Lair Dwarf Fortress, create new world. We got a Dwarf Fortress Secret Lair drop before GTA 6. This drop is about $30 in value, and that is 99% on the back of Terror of the Peaks. We got Runescarred Demon, Secret Rendezvous, Communal Brewing, and Rogue's Passage, which are all basically nothing, and then Terror of the Peaks is $28. So if you want a Terror of the Peaks that doesn't look anything like a dragon and has this weird, like, very old video game, like Atari, like barely above Atari level art style, more power to you, I guess. There's probably other better looking versions of Terror of the Peaks that you might be more interested in, but
yeah, I was not familiar with this IP, and I remain unfamiliar with this IP after seeing the Secret Lair.
I have done no research into what Dwarf Fortress is or why they would have come across Hasbro's desk. I just can't be fucked, quite frankly. The Eyes Have It, which is my personal favorite Secret Lair on this drop. The art on them is fucking sick. You get Counterbalance, Gataxian Probe, Opt, Otherworldly Gaze, and Baleful Strix. For a lot of people, I think this Opt and this Gataxian Probe are going to be the coolest art versions of those cards that you could possibly get. Unfortunately, Get Probe and Opt and Otherworldly Gaze and Baleful Strix, not worth a whole lot. Counterbalance is worth $7. So the total value is only $14, barely getting halfway to the price of admission. Sam, how much of a weeb are you?
I mean, decently. I watch a lot of anime, but...
Have you ever heard of Maho Gakuin Seisho Hakusho?
Nope.
Because I took that, I copied it, I pasted it into a search bar, and I couldn't find any of these characters, like screenshots of an anime or anything. I have no clue what the fuck this is. It's some weep stuff, man.
I mean, are we maybe just yeah, I have no idea. They look super cool, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, the art style looks great. The character designs are fun. You get Rule of Law, Thought Scour, Time Stretch, Notion Thief, and the bulk of the value here being the Stinging Study, being, what is that, $7 of the $13.50 of this entire drop. Really cool Rule of Law. I like the pose on that.
Yeah.
Again, really not worth the price of admission. If you really like the show, more power to you. Absolutely love that. My second least favorite drop after the My Little Pony things. I keep blocking them out of my head. They're really not for me. Lair, Disciple of the Drowned, Bloodghast, Stormkiln Artist, and Hello the Painter make up a Notebook Genius, a 4-card drop, unlike the other ones, which are 5-card drops, which show all of these creatures being doodled into a notebook, like my cringe middle school self, doodling little Naruto comics in the margins instead of paying attention in English class. That one's real. I actually did that.
Deep lore on Connor here.
That's some deep lore. $5.50 in value for those 4 cards, with half of that being in the Stormkiln Artist, which is about $2.50. Now, you might think, wow, $5 in value for a $30 product? That has to be the lowest value. No. It's not. The last drop. Return to the Mystical Archive. This is 5 cards from the Mystical Archive, the bonus sheet, the Japanese arts, and they have been given English text and text boxes. So we've got Duty Beyond Death, Spell Pierce, Zombify, Abrade, and Shared Roots, all with English printings using the Japanese art from the Mystical Archives. Now, you might have noticed none of these cards were the Force of Will, or the Vampiric Tutor, or the Cyclonic Rift, or even like Jessica's Will, or Dismember, or any of the vaguely valuable Mystical Archives cards that Chroma's Will. None of those. No. Nope. Duty Beyond Death, Spell Pierce, Zombify, Abrade, Shared Roots make up for a cumulative $2.50, with half of that being Shared Roots because it's really new and basically a power crept rampant growth. Arguably the biggest missed opportunity, in my opinion. I think the Mystical Archives arts are awesome. And the Japanese text ones that you can open in collector boosters especially are really, really cool. And getting some of them in English is awesome. And then my gambler's fallacy kicks in. And I'm like, is there going to be a bonus card in here? And is that bonus card going to be fucking Force of Will or any of the big value ones? Is that the bit here? It just breaks my heart a little bit. We kind of rushed through the last few. Sam, anyone tickling your fancy?
As you said, the eyes have it. Honestly, I mean, all 3 of the last 4 of these do have super cool arts.
Absolutely.
And fun fact, I run a braid in almost every deck that I can run a braid in.
Oh yeah.
And even have a Duty Beyond Death in a deck. I only know that because I played it on last week when in a game I was playing. I was like, this looks familiar. Oh yeah, because I actually did this. But as cool as the arts are, I have no interest in giving WotC another 30 of my dollars for cards that can either be acquired for much less in base or other fine art printings, or, and don't say you heard it from me, but you can proxy these usually for about $1.
True.
If you get enough cards.
True. If you have a printer, it can effectively be the cost of a pack of paper.
Some ink.
And some ink. What I would recommend, the Japanese art versions of these are going to be pretty cheap because they're not super powerful spells. So if you're like, I really like the Japanese Abrade, just buy the Japanese Abrade.
Yeah, go search your local game store's bulk bin.
We all know what Abrade does, okay? We all know what Shared Roots does. It's a rampant growth. You know what rampant growth does. You know what Spell Pierce does. You can just get the Japanese versions of these. Now, look at me. I'm probably going to be completely right. It would be hilarious if I was completely right. And it's like people that actually bought it got like a fucking Vampiric Tutor or some really valuable bonus card in the drop. That would be my luck. But I'm almost tempted to get it because I just want to be vindicated in that point in particular. And the art's cool. I play basically all of these cards in a deck. I don't run Duty Beyond Death, but now that I'm reading it.
So I got to use it the other night. I was playing it in my soldiers deck, my mono white soldiers deck, and it's like I have 13 soldiers, but I can't punch through what the other person has. Play my board wipe, destroy all creatures, respond to my own thing, sacrifice one of the soldiers, put down Duty Beyond Death, other buffs. It was great.
That's a good combo. That's a good
combo.
Even as a combat trick, you're kind of making it effectively a one-sided fog with a buff to all but one creature. You could pick one of the tokens that gets blocked. You know?
Yeah.
That's fun.
I will say, so here in our notes for this episode, you do have under the Mystical Archives, you've noted to yourself to mention the Gambler's Fallacy.
Yes.
And
yes.
I didn't even think too much while reading through and just thought, Gambler's Fallacy, definitely a card. Probably look that up later. I don't know if it was like because there's like Prisoner's Dilemma and there's other ones like that. I was just like, probably a card we'll talk about. Doesn't matter. Didn't even think of the actual symptom.
All right. Looking at Gambler's Fallacy on Scryfall, nothing comes up. It does say, "Did you mean Gambler Allay?" And then I clicked it, and then it also said "Cards not found." So I don't know what it was wanting me to do there. No, because like when you look at that Mystical Archives drop specifically, it's like you had so many cards to choose from that would have been better than these. Mm-hmm. And would have also kept the total value under $30. So what are you going to include as a sixth bonus card in this? You know?
Right.
Like, and that's where the noggin gets going. Because, like, they're all playable cards. So it's not like they're going to go to waste. I think back to the infamous Lord of the Rings Secret Lair, where they used the art from the animated films, and it was like a cumulatively like 80 cent for 4 cards bulk from the Lord of the Rings set. And those cards individually are still like $8, you know? Like, you just can't move them because no one buys them. You're just getting them if you're a collector, which I haven't been so crazy as to get those ones yet for the Lord of the Rings set collection, but alas. All right, you have any final thoughts on this Secret Lair? Super drop?
It's still Secret Lair, and at the end of the day, I mostly can't justify buying a Secret Lair. There are a few in the past, but this does not inspire me to do so.
I am inclined to agree. I found myself fortunate enough to be able to purchase a couple of the ones that I'm more interested in, and even if I'm only kind of interested, if they have something of value that I can trade in, I'll grab one, and it makes decent content to open up a Secret Lair in a short.
Sure.
You know. If you are interested in getting a Secret Lair, any of these Secret Lairs for the back to school super drop, April 27th, noon Eastern time is when that's going to go live. Remember, about an hour before when the website actually opens up, log in, add literally anything to your cart, and try and check out. It'll throw you into the pre-waiting room, and then when the drop goes live, it'll randomly assign you a spot in line. That is how you beat the rush of people that are arriving at noon. That's literally what WotC describes. People keep fighting me on this when I talk about it in shorts. They go to the comments and they say, I don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, what? I could show you the email that we all got from Wizards. It tells you to do this. I'm just saying to do this, and I've had success doing it. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, wrap-up time. We got 2 small little wrap-up items. We got Pro Tour Secrets of Strixhaven. The dates for that are coming up May 1st to 3rd. You can watch that on Twitch. For those of you that are participating in the Pro Tour, awesome. You're going to get this really cool Tameo Inquisitive Student Secret Lair promo. You can watch it on their Twitch. It is Secrets of Strixhaven Draft, followed by Standard Constructed on days 1 and 2, and then the Standard Constructed Top 8 Single Elimination on the final day of May 3rd. Twitch.tv/magic, youtube.com/@play_MTG. Have you ever watched any Pro Tour stuff?
Yeah, I watched, what Pro Tour was that? I can't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago. I watched part of the some of the Pro Tour. It was when Brian Kibler was doing his 5-color Legends standard deck. But I've always thought it'd be cool, Because you did a what, an RCQ last year?
Yeah,
Was that
I
right?
did an RCQ at Gen Con, and that one's fun. It's fun to participate in specifically the limited, more competitive formats, because I feel like it's much more even playing field for all those
Yeah.
involved, and it's much more skill based. Whereas like if you gotta know standard if you're gonna do one of the standard constructed tournaments, you know.
Yeah. So I think that'd be cool to someday get to do an RCQ, but yeah, I don't foresee that anytime soon due to life schedules.
Indeed. That is unfortunate. I watched a little bit of the Final Fantasy Pro Tour just because I wanted to see people playing with Final Fantasy cards. I threw it up on the second monitor while I was doing stuff at the computer. Yeah, that's,
There you go.
I think watching some of those featured matches is really cool. It's not something that I take a lot of, like, I need to sit down and watch this kind of thing. But you can find a lot of interesting stuff. I do love all the YouTubers that make the audience caught the cheater from the Pro Tours and the streamed games and stuff. Like the blatant shuffle cheating that happens when they know they're the featured match on a Twitch live stream in front of thousands of people.
Yeah.
And they're just like, the most recent one I saw, a guy played a fetch land, cracked the fetch land, getting a surveil, was like thumbing through their deck, found an endurance, pulled the endurance aside, grabbed the surveil land, put the surveil land down, put the endurance on top, shuffled it, never changing the top card. Surveil trigger happened, looked at the endurance, set it down, looked at their hand, looked at the endurance, looked at their hand. I'll leave it on top. And it's like exactly the card that they needed to deal with like the Charbelcher bullshit going on the other side. And it's like, come on, dude. Like it was blatantly obvious. Anyway, enjoy Pro Tour Secrets of Strixhaven if you feel yourself so inclined. The last little wrap up item, a officially licensed coloring book for Magic the Gathering. The adult coloring book featuring 80 pages of iconic and fan favorite illustrations from across Magic's 3-decade history, printed on high quality bleed resistant paper. You got the cover with Chandra, Liliana, Ajani. You got some cool stained glass artworks going on. It's $18. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, the whole kit and caboodle. Available, releasing April 28th. I'm not a colorer. I'm not a colorer.
You could be. It's one of those hobbies that's pretty accessible, I believe.
Very accessible, and like you can see a couple of the pages on the Penguin Random House, which is the publishing company. You can see some of the pages in it, and it's like, yeah, this is all good. I don't even want to begin trying to color any of this because the idea of doing that sounds way too difficult.
I think it's actually one of those therapeutic things that they do these days. It's a self-care sort of thing. Harkening back to your childhood, maybe.
I did do a bit of the child coloring book as a youngin. Not something I found myself doing very frequently by any means, but you know, it's certainly in the rotation. If you're a big fan of an adult coloring book and Magic the Gathering, there you go.
There you go.
April 28th, set aside $18 for the great corporation named after a river in South America. That would be Amazon. I had to think about that for a second. I was like, don't get the fucking continent wrong.
It only had so many to choose from, but you got the right one, so.
That's true. That is true. All right. Well, that's all we have for the news today. Sam, you got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Moving. Whole other state.
Whole other state. 1 month, about a month away.
God damn.
God,
That's crazy.
Damn.
God damn. Couldn't be me. I'm too comfortable. I'm too comfortable and unwilling to put forth the exertion to move that far.
You also did a thing called buying a house.
That is why I don't want to put forth the exertion to move that far away. It's unfortunate that we we'll only be able to see each other through the lens of glass in front of a camera on the internet, which is a shame. We really haven't been able to see each other much in person anyway. But
No, that's true. No, over the past
year,
God, almost coming up on
yeah, that was our friend. We saw each other at a friend's wedding last year.
Yeah,
I think that was last time.
I think so.
Man,
More of our friends need to get married, apparently.
Apparently. Why are you looking at me? Why'd you glower a little bit? What's up with that? What are you looking at me for? What are you looking for me for?
I guess I can look at my empty room.
Look at Loot.
God damn it, Loot.
Unmoved from the bit earlier. She wanted it down on the ground, and then once he was on the ground, completely lost interest. Zero inch. She actually went over to the litter box and took a piss and then walked out. so that's what the cat thinks of the great Magic the Gathering mascot of Loot.
What's the one that everybody got obsessed with? The Arena's version of the Green Goblin.
Oh my God, Fleam.
Fleam, yes. We've had a lot of like Magic the Gathering. Well, they attempted really hard with Loot, but there's some detractors from Loot, some very vocal detractors. Then everybody loved Fleam, and then Squeaking Crag, people love.
Oh my God,
they're still using those.
I feel like they realized how popular Scree and Crag were, and they were like, thankfully, we filmed a bunch of like just those two sitting at a table saying generic things.
Yeah.
That we can like just put a couple cards up with them for content. But I hope that they keep working with that puppet studio. That's names escape the name of
company.
Thank you. I couldn't even spit that sentence out. God. But yeah, Fleam Gobin's creation as the Green Goblin. That little fucking derpy little face. They realized how popular Fleam was when they showed all the Through the Omen Paths Arena cards. And they had to like patch it a couple of days later to be like, here's card sleeves and stickers and a Fleam avatar because you guys love him so much. Which I will say was pretty cool. It was pretty cool of them.
I mean, when you actually listen to your audience and do things they want without going too far, I think that's how business succeeds.
I agree. And I hope that they learn from the engagement of sets like Spider-Man and TMNT versus Lorwyn Eclipsed and Secrets of Strixhaven. Hopefully. We'll see.
I think that's been part of the it's been a big discussion over years. Obviously, we've covered it since, we really started playing around the time that they started doing Universes Beyond as main sets. Because I remember one of the first decks I got was actually the Necrons Precon, which was kind of the tripping point into the Universes Beyond being so popular. But I think that a lot of people just can't vocalize that they want an IP they can care about, and I feel like Wizards has been putting a lot more effort into Lorwyn Eclipse, into Edge of Eternities, into Strixhaven. I mean, of course, got the novel that released with Strixhaven.
From what I heard, it's very good too.
That's what I've heard as well. I haven't read it yet, but I think more multimedia content is the way to get people to care about your vast IP more, right? Like, think about what the effect Baldur's Gate had on D&D and the D&D movie had.
Yeah.
Like, get some non-card interaction going on with the community in a cool animated film, in a cool, I don't know, something that's not just a web series you decide to put up on your own website and don't promote.
Yeah. Well, like bundles used to come with like the books. Like they used to come with fun things to help the multimedia aspect. I mean, how long have we been talking about a fucking Magic the Gathering show?
Oh, forever.
And with the amount of history and story and lore in Magic the Gathering, the world's your oyster with telling an in-universe story, retelling the fucking Nicol Bolas, like the War of the Spark, telling the March of the Machines story. It's something that could be done, and it's a shame that they don't do that more frequently. Also, speak with your wallet if you're into that sort of thing. Go out
Yeah.
and buy the multimedia products that you like. I have over on the shelf that nobody can see because I didn't plan well enough where to lay out this room, and I just kind of put things where they logically made sense. Destroy All Humans, They Cannot Be Regenerated. We talked about that manga years ago. I've been getting each issue as they've come out. They've got fun promos in them. The story's really cute, nice little slice of life, very nostalgic for like 90s era Magic, even though I wasn't playing Magic then. It's really weird how it managed to do that. Very fun story. Highly recommend it. Also highly recommending in your brain every time they reference being in middle school, change that to being seniors in high school, and it makes you feel a lot less uncomfortable with some parts of it.
Okay. Well,
Japanese sensibilities, man. Japan's a place. Japan is a place. Brandon Vull, thank you for supporting us on Patreon. $15 a month tier where you can get your name read at the end of the show. $5 a month, early ad-free access, free if you want to just submit a question, comment, concern, thought, or idea. Patreon's probably going to get revamped here soon, along with other things that will remain to be seen until such a time that they're actually done. I don't like putting it out there until it's happening. You know. Which along those lines, you know what I'm talking about. I'm the guy that's going to do the things is available after the 24th. So
there you go.
We're coming up. You never know.
Coming up.
With all that being said, we love you very much, and as always,